So I recently got fired and I landed a new position very, very quickly. And I just pretty much want to share my opinions on how to land that job that you want to land. I really think you want to go and learn a lot of different things from other individuals that have backgrounds in resumes, questions that are asked on specific interviews, all that other good stuff. I did that as well. But at the same time, I think you just need to have, a few principles in place and think about a few different things before you go into that interview so that, you're best prepared. Before I went into it, I kind of looked around for, the basic questions. You see yourself in 5 years. What are your greatest weaknesses and greatest strengths? Tell me about a time you overcame a specific issue, yada, yada, yada. Whenever you go into another position, you really need to take everything you've learned from your last position and move forward with it. A lot of different people, whenever they're jumping into that next position, they kind of want to negate a lot of different things that they've done because, they're maybe not completely satisfied with, what they achieved in their last position or pretty much not too happy on how it ended. There's multiple different reasons where you can, find yourself in that position. For me, in my last position, I made it very apparent that, I was of value. I was a top performer. I worked my off to perform the best that I can for the company, and I progressed very, very well, and I was on one of the highest performing teams. Well, whenever we are moving into this transition, once everybody kind of got laid off, go watch my other video if you're new to the channel. When everything took place, they were looking for these high performers that can fill these new positions for new contracts. Well, whenever I was jumping into my interview, I brought my experience from my last role and applied it to exactly what was being presented to me in this new position. Whatever career you're pursuing, I would hope that, whatever position you're in leads you to the next, just like a stepping stone. Whether you're a sales associate moving into, a leadership role, into a management, to ops, yada, yada, yada. There's multiple different things you can do. I don't plan on working my whole life, but I do plan on making some good money while I'm working. So I think whenever, you're considering all these things, you're jumping into that interview, you need to really take what you've learned from that last position, all the good, all the bad, and be able to express yourself over that interview. Whenever I was talking to my previous manager as well as one of the ops managers that was on the interview, I was pretty much just, discussing exactly some of my pain points on my last position, a lot of the different things that I suffer from. And when I say pain points, I talk about pretty much my downfalls kind of as an individual, whereas, I kind of want to be a perfectionist, want to achieve the best, but I got to be a team player. I got to be willing to, change the script a little bit so that I can make sure we all win. And at the end of the day, on an interview, a lot of people want to hear, specific answers. So it's really good to prepare before you jump onto, a camera where someone starts to ask you all these specific questions. Also, don't get your nerves, all in a bunch. I think everyone's really nervous whenever they start talking to everyone. Whenever I jumped on my interview, I was in here. They loved the background, loved everything. I talked about how I had a YouTube channel, loved pretty much how I'm pretty much getting everything initiated. And, I think you just got to be really real with whoever you're having the interview with. You got to be a little vulnerable, but you also got to be presentable and understand what you're talking about. I landed my position very, very easily, and not only did I land it, I also got a little pay bump because I was willing to negotiate. When I first started my position in the last position, I didn't even negotiate. My recommendation is whenever you're jumping into this, as long as you, have a good understanding, have the experience, you can negotiate a little bit. Have the confidence, don't be too pushy on everything, and on top of that, ask as much questions as you can so that you can get as much out of the role as possible. And they know you want as much as you can get as well. So my basic things that I learned pretty much from, having the role that I did, getting laid off, and then pretty much landing a new position very, very quickly. One, have the confidence in what you're doing. If you have the, experience and everything, express it, show it. Two, lay off the nerves. Everything's going to be okay. It's just an interview between another individual just like yourself. And believe me, more than likely they want to give you the position. They just need to know that you really want the position. 3, be willing to be a little vulnerable. Be real with them. Whenever I showed them my studio, showed them everything, I showed them that I'm in my closet. You got to be willing to be real because people love when you're being real. They feel it's all scripted and everything's all just to the bone and they already know that, oh, he has everything already set. It's going to feel all robotic and not real. You got to be willing to, be a little vulnerable so that they can see that you're an actual human being. So when you're jumping into that next interview, guys, whether you're trying to land a new position or something connected to the current position that you have now, maybe just moving up, really take those principles into place just to make sure that you are getting the most out of that interview. I think a lot of people, they don't prepare. A lot of them are too nervous. A lot of them are very qualified, but they don't want to express themselves enough. I think there's going to be multiple different things that are going to be in your way, but if you could take those principles into play, I'm pretty sure you can do something good. I'll keep you guys updated on my process and what's going on. If you're new to the channel, go check out all my other stuff. But other than that, guys, I appreciate it, and I'll check you in the next one.